Hi everyone, join me on my road trip from Victoria to Tofino, and this is back in 2021 when I was living in BC, and my friend Sarah and I decided to take a road trip up to Tofino, and we ended up camping in Ucluelet actually because Tofino was completely booked. So if you are heading to Tofino, definitely check ahead. But Ucluelet did have very affordable campsites, and Sarah had all the camping gear, so that worked out great. And this vlog will mainly include Sarah and I hiking across Ucluelet and Tofino. We also did some surfing in Tofino, which I highly recommend, but unfortunately I wasn't allowed to bring my camera with me, so I didn't get any recordings of us surfing. But yeah, for the most part, we'll be hiking. And this first trail that we're hiking is the Wild Pacific Trail, where they have a ton of different tidal pools that you can check out. And there's a really nice section of the trail that is pretty well maintained. It does get a little rougher the further you go. It is quite a long trail, but you could just do the short loop right by the tidal pools and then end it there if you'd like. And after Sarah and I finished our hike on the West Pacific Trail, we decided to head to Tofino to explore. This was the view from the dock in Tofino, and the sun was just coming out, and then we decided just to walk the downtown strip and check out all the different stores and restaurants there before we then headed to Long Beach, which this is the iconic spot in Tofino that everybody goes to. They get all the photos. As you can see, it is long, and the name does do it justice. And it's interesting because there were signs before we headed on to Long Beach that mentioned not to surf right by the rock out in the middle of the ocean, but that was exactly where everybody was surfing, as you'll see. So I guess maybe that's just the spot with the best waves, but it's kind of a riskier spot, so they warn people just in case. But anyway, everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves, and Sarah and I just decided to walk down the beach and enjoy the sun. And we also checked out Comox Beach, which is just down the road from Long Beach. And I will note that on all of the trails and beaches, there are signs that say that they do recommend you carry bear spray with you. So before coming to Tofino, I would recommend purchasing bear spray. You'll see here that Sarah and I actually forgot our bear spray, so we headed back to the car to go grab it, just to have it with us just in case. And the hike down to Comox Beach is about 500 meters, so it's just downhill a bit and then it'll be uphill on the way back. And it was definitely a quieter beach than Long Beach, but either way it was still a great beach. And after exploring the beaches, we decided to do some more hiking before heading back to our campsite in Ucluelet. So there's two trails right in between Tofino and Ucluelet that are so well maintained because you're just walking on this brand new wooden path. And they're called Rainforest Trail A and Rainforest Trail B. And one is just on one side of the road and then the other is on the other side of the road. And this is a really great trail for anyone that doesn't want to risk tripping on any tree roots or anything like that. It's very accessible for majority of individuals, and you get to see some really massive trees and just really cool nature. Highly recommend. If you are to do any trails, these are two that are super quick and easy that you can just stop in and do right before you get to Tofino or right before you leave Tofino. And as you see, there's a lot of fun trees that are fallen that you get to go under. And I thought this West Coast weather report was really funny. It talks about how much rain they get in Tofino. And Sarah and I were posing for some photos on these 2 chairs that were literally on the farthest part of the trail. We were talking about how it would have been so much effort for them to bring them all the way there. Then after the trails, we headed back to our campsite and made dinner. Then we went to a cider house that was just down the street from our campground, right in Ucluelet. And unfortunately, you'll see it's extremely foggy. On our last day on the campground, we noticed the view finally, and there's just 2 massive mountains right there, but we didn't see it the whole time because, as you see, it's so foggy. So since the weather was kind of bad, we decided to check out the aquarium in Ucluelet, which was so cute, and a lot of cool sea creatures. And all of the water that's pumped in to all of the tanks here is fresh, right directly from the water. So outside of the aquarium, you'll see they have this whole piping system, piping the water in from the ocean right into these tanks. So it's all natural water that these sea creatures would be used to in the wild. And after the aquarium, we decided to do another trail. So we headed down in Ucluelet and did the South Beach Trail, which was great. Also highly recommend. Sections of it are on wooden paths, but there are a decent amount of sections that were just on the trail, so you gotta watch out for all the roots. But stunning views, so many trees, highly recommend again. Honestly, Tofino is very similar to my hiking in Washington, which obviously makes sense because they're right in the same proximity to each other. But if you don't get a chance to come to Tofino and Washington and it makes more sense for you, then highly recommend that.
We're doing a new hike to see this crashed airplane, and it's totally unsanctioned. They say don't do it, but they give you full instructions on where to go.
Very small drawing of a plane.
And they even tell you there's a plane on this telephone pole. And then there's the hike that do not enter, but we're doing it. Stay tuned for the extremely muddy part that was in all capitals on the instructions. Right there. Yep. Got it.
For anyone that also is interested in doing this trail, it will be a little concerning when you run into this building, but this is part of the trail. You can either walk around it or you can walk straight through it. It is kind of sketchy and dark, but you will see other people on the trail. Even though it's technically unsanctioned, it is a super popular trail, and you can just walk through this building, and then the trail is right on the other side. And as you see, there's other people right there. And like it warned in the brochure, this was an extremely muddy hike, so highly recommend wearing hiking boots.
Parks Canada and West Coast Inland Search and Rescue are called out on a regular basis to rescue hikers on the Bomber Trail. Not us today.
Honestly, the muddiest part of the trail also is right by the airplane when you're trying to climb up to the airplane, as you see here. Highly recommend this trail if you do have time in Tofino, because it was such a unique experience to see this plane that was crashed just in the middle of the woods. It's definitely not like anything else I've ever done. And as you can see here, you can climb into the plane if you wanted to. There's no one that's stopping you. I did not. I was just standing on the outside of the plane looking in on this one section that was completely ripped open. But it is really cool to just peek inside. And then the next day we went and did our surfing lessons bright and early, and they take you to the beach in those vans with some other people. Unfortunately, I didn't get any videos of it, so you just have to trust me that we had so much fun and I highly recommend it. And then we stopped at a bakery for some snacks and headed down to the dock in Tofino to check out the view. And we actually take a little water taxi in Tofino because, as you know, the trend is of this video, we were doing some more hiking.
We're taking a boat, guys. We're not taking the plane. It's a little too out of our price range.
Yeah, not the
Well,
plane.
we are. Let me show you. Come on with me. This boat. This is awesome.
So yeah, you can take a water taxi to another little island just off of Tofino, and they have some amazing trails over there with some massive trees. Honestly, the biggest trees that we saw on all of the hikes that we did. So I highly recommend this as well. I believe the water taxi was like $20 something, and that also pays for your both ways. So if you have the time, I definitely recommend, because going out on the boat, just going in between all those mountains was an amazing experience as well. And the trail, I will say, at the beginning was pretty well maintained, but the further you go, it does get extremely muddy. So we ended up turning around at one point because it was just unenjoyable at that point. And all of the big trees were kind of at the start anyway. And it was super cute because all of the trees had different names. So I thought that was a really nice touch. And shortly after this, we did turn around and we got the water taxi back to Tofino because this is where it got super muddy. And you just gotta wait at the entrance of the trail, and eventually a water taxi will show up. And then we headed to one of the beaches to just relax, get some sun after all our hiking, before then heading over to a sushi restaurant to treat ourselves to some seafood before heading back to our campsite. And it was such a nice spot to just relax and enjoy the view of Tofino one last time. And then we did the Raid Hill Trail again because it cleared up so much that you could actually see the mountains this time. Highly recommend doing this when it's not overcast so you can actually see the view. And our last hike of the trip was the Cathedral Trail. This is a trail in between Tofino and Victoria, and I highly recommend if you have the chance. It was very busy, so it's a very, very popular spot, and this marks the end of our trip. So if you liked this video and you're interested in watching some more travel videos alongside career and lifestyle, I'll be putting out videos every single Monday morning. So please like and subscribe for more, and thank you for all of your support. Bye guys.